No. Sam was super hard into Ultimate Frisbee, and you know it.
Hello and welcome to Saving People, Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where the Winchesters really need to start listening to each other about big life decisions. Today, we are pulling up to the season 6 premiere, Exile on Main Street. I am your host, August. My pronouns are they, them.
I'm Elayna. My pronouns are she, they.
I'm Noah. Pronouns he, him.
And I'm Sam. My pronouns are she, her.
My question of the day for all of you is a bit of a two-parter. Number one, what do you think Bobby knows about Ben? And does he think that Ben is Dean's son? And two, what kind of grandpa would Bobby be?
The best grandpa on the planet.
Second best, because my grandpa Papaloo is the number one. Love you, Papaloo. Shout out. I actually got him to start watching Supernatural a little while ago. So eventually at some point, maybe he'll be listening to this.
That's amazing. That's really cute.
The next day he said, hey, tell us on another one of those Supernaturals. It was fantastic.
I don't think Bobby thinks that Ben is Dean's son until he sees him at the door, and then he immediately is like, oh, this is miniature my son.
Yeah, I never even thought about this. But I feel like the minute Bobby sees Ben and you know, Dean introduces them and is like, this is Lisa and Ben, the look on Bobby's face is a very knowing look.
I agree. I want to believe that, obviously Bobby knew about Lisa and Ben for at least the past year, because Sam would have been like, no, we can't tell Dean because he's happy because he's with them, like he would have had to explain that to Bobby at least. But
he knew about them in season 5 for sure, at least a little.
I want to believe that he knew about Ben as soon as Dean knew about Ben. He could tell something was different about the way Dean was acting, so he did some digging and found Lisa and then found Ben. And
So Bobby's known since season 3 is what you're saying?
I think so, yeah.
That would not surprise me at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's resourceful
And nosy. Dangerous combination.
Most of his skill set is resourceful and nosy.
Comes in handy.
I love that. Now that you have met us, it is time to catch you up. If you have not watched Supernatural season 6 recently, here is what you've missed on the road so far. We are at the beginning of the season, so I am going to just remind you all what these recaps are. So you are going to get 30 seconds on the clock, and Elayna is going to start and is going to recap the show thus far. Let me know when you're ready, and I will count you in.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
So Sam and Dean are bros who are looking for their dad, who is looking for the demon that unalived their mom, but it turns out that Sam has these wonky powers, and then John, derogatory, dies, telling Dean that he's gonna have to kill him, but if he can't save him, and oops, then somebody kills Sam, and Dean ends up selling his soul to try and save him, and it doesn't go well, and he makes creepy demons really mad, and then Dean goes to hell, but then oops, his angel/future husband saves him, and jumpstarts Judgment Day, and then there's a Angels versus Demon Thunderdome with Lucifer rising, and then they have to try to stop the apocalypse, and then Dean cares, and Sam is in tough space.
Well done.
I'd like to point out, my brain short-circuited. The line I wrote was, and Sam is a tough cookie. I don't know why that's the line that I wrote, but that's what I wrote on.
I like that that's the conclusion of Sam's arc.
Yeah, Sam is a tough cookie. I don't know. So yeah, that's the road so far, my friends.
And now what we're going to do is Noah is going to recap this week's episode, Exile on Main Street, also using only 30 seconds. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Season starts off with Dean having flashbacks and trying to live a life on his own with Lisa and Ben, but he's haunted by his old life, and the hole in his heart that Sam left behind, until he starts to see hunting red flags all over the place, and it leads to him getting poisoned by some djinns, and then he gets saved by Sam. Oh my god, he's alive. Then he goes to meet up with Sam's team of his second cousins. Okay, wild. Then they go see Bobby, who knew Sam was alive the entire time, and then they stop the djinns, and Dean decides to stay with Lisa and Ben instead of going with Sam.
Marvelous.
It was fun to see some of your initial reactions to this episode come out in that recap.
You gotta have a little flavor.
So now it's time to pick some music to accompany us on our journey through this episode. Here is what we have this week to add to our episode mixtape. Elayna, you want to start?
I shall. So my song that I went with for this week is Lose You by Sam Smith, mostly because I'm on a Sam Smith kick, because apparently I'm going to their concert in like a couple weeks and I'm really excited about it. But in listening to their songs pretty much on a loop, I came across that one, and it just had very profound lyrics that were like, oh no, this could be several people from this episode singing it to each other. So there was this one lyric in particular that really jumped out at me. And you're better with me out of your life, but baby, that ain't happening tonight. Want you to know that I'm willing to make this right. I'd be crazy to give you up when you've given me that unfiltered love. And like the chorus of the song, like the main line is, I'm not ready to lose you. That's Dean at Sam, Dean at Lisa, Dean at everyone in this episode, essentially, except for his 8th cousins 4 times removed or whatever.
We'll
Yeah.
get there.
Noah, what about you?
This week, I went with The Call by Regina Spektor.
You did not.
I did, because Sam and Dean decide to split up yet again after Dean has spent an entire year thinking his brother was dead and gone forever. And then he finds out he's been back the whole time and just decided to spend all this time away and decided to let him feel this pain. And that song holds a lot of pain for me personally, and anybody who watched Prince Caspian.
I have an extreme emotional reaction to that song. Like, still.
Extreme.
Extreme. We went on a road trip. My family went on a road trip the year after that movie came out, and I had my little Walkman, my CD Walkman.
That caused a visceral reaction in me.
I had like 2 discs. Like, that's all I had for this like road trip to Alberta from where we lived, which, to be fair, is like, I don't know how many hours.
It's like 12 to 14 hours.
Over the Rocky Mountains, and I was like 13. I didn't want to listen to the stuff that my parents were playing over the main vehicle speakers, so I would like sit in the back corner and listen to that soundtrack on loop, and I listened to that particular song probably 100 times, and now I just have a very big reaction to hearing that song's name.
I don't even need to share any lyrics. If you don't know the song, go listen to it. If you do know the song, you already get it.
It's true.
Sam, how about you?
My pick is Killing Time by City and Color. City and Color is one of my favorite bands, but this song is just kind of talks about you're killing time before your former life catches up to you, basically. One of the lines is, I'm running from the shadow of my former shadow's life. Sometimes I wonder if I was ever really there. Right now it feels like killing time.
That's like made for this episode.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, it felt very fitting for Dean this episode. How about you, August?
The song I've chosen is Now Is Exactly the Time by Noah and the Whale. It's the chorus goes, now is exactly the time to be out on your own again. Now is exactly the time to turn your head from the past. Again, a really like song about the choices you make and how they influence where you end up, and can you really escape your past, and should you want to, and can you walk away from the past? Can you walk away from who you were? It seemed really like it worked for both Sam and Dean, particularly Dean, but both of them. Considering where we leave the end of the episode. Yeah, stellar mixtape.
Kicking off the season with all of the feelings.
So now that we've got that mixtape, it is time for this week's hunt. And today we are kicking off the gamble era with season 6, episode 1, Exile on Main Street. If you listen to us through season 5, we did a bit of a different method during season 5. We used the Supernatural Tarot deck to kind of help frame our discussion. We talked about a different card every episode. But prior to that, in seasons 1 through 4, we chose themes for every episode, and we used those themes, whether it was love or family or free will or compassion or violence, and we would use a theme to talk about the episode and explore that the episode through that angle. And we are returning to that because, as we've discussed as a team, and in hearing some of your feedback through our audience survey, which is still open if you haven't had a chance to answer the audience survey and you would like to, we would love to hear your feedback. And if you have filled it out already, thank you so much. Some of the feedback has led us to this decision to go back to using themes. I've really missed it.
It's classic. Can't go wrong. Brings a fresh twist every week.
The only other change to the way we're going to be doing episode discussions this season is that instead of having a going meta section at the end where we kind of recap some of the representation and pop culture and things like that, we're going to actually embed that in our main discussion. So you'll still hear some of those lore checks and representation checks, but that's going to happen within the body of our main discussion and framed by the theme. And so with that, we like to use the theme of family to explore season premieres. And so that's what we're going to do. Finally, as a last thing to note before we jump in, content discussed in this episode may contain mature subject matter, particularly in this episode, conversations of forcible drugging and those impacts is a topic that will probably come up in our discussion. So use your own discretion. Okay, what did we think of this episode?
I liked it more than I remember.
Strong opener. It was big. It was a good strong resolution, and not a resolution, but a picking back up the torch after the end of last season. They left off pretty significantly. I kind of felt like they lived up to that. I'm still not a huge fan of the fact that he went back to Lisa. So I mean, it's kind of a bummer that she's involved, but that's just, I mean, I have to make peace with that. It's fine. I liked how she was handled in this episode. I feel like she did pretty well. Besides the fact that, you know, she was lied to most of the episode.
Lisa holds her own, and I share your feelings about like the Lisa storyline, but she holds her own.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben is great. He didn't seem to do much this episode. I like that he exists in the story. He's interesting, especially with Bobby involved and giving Grandpa.
That fun because we haven't seen him in 3 seasons because we didn't see him in season 5.
It was rough to see all of this conflict between the brothers. I hate it.
What do you think of Sam?
Oh, he's not Sam, for sure not.
Yeah, elaborate, Noah. I want to know your thoughts.
He's way too smooth. If he's not Lucifer still, then he's somebody else. But he's not Sam.
What tipped you off? Like, what is the thing that's tipping you off to that like hypothesis?
He's way too suave and smooth about everything, and it's like, okay, you're a nervous guy sometimes. Okay, you need to still be that. Dean being absent for a year, we've seen Dean be absent from Sam's life before, and that does not result like this.
Not at all.
Not what it looks like. This is a much smoother version of Sam that is putting on an act, putting on airs, and he's trying really hard. That whole conversation at the end, too, about I'm not that kind of person. When Bobby literally had a whole speech about how Sam ran into burning buildings ever since he was 12 because he cares. Like,
That was like 2 episodes ago.
so that's not Sam.
The fact that Sam's been out for a year is pretty, like, though, to be fair, Bobby also knew.
I'm mad about that, too.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
This is not a great episode for Bobby.
Yeah.
This is maybe the angriest I am with Bobby. Angriest I've ever been with Bobby.
Absolutely.
The look in Dean's eyes when Sam says hi to Bobby and he's like expecting Bobby to have this big reaction and he doesn't, and then he realizes that Bobby knows.
Mhm.
There's like this just the look in his face is just,
It's the mom said yeah, but dad said no kind of, it's one parent is on board with the plan. The other parent was very much against it and thought that parent A
Yeah.
would be on their side, but they were not.
He was expecting to have that Bobby would be on the same page, that Bobby would be like, Sam, you've been out for a year and you didn't tell us?
yeah, that he could have someone to bounce that off of with Sam. And he's like, all right, cool. Everyone is on the same page but me.
Yeah, and the same page is that they are going to
Leave me behind.
Yeah, like Dean uses this phrase. He says, "You left me alone." The fact that he says, "You left me alone," he uses the phrase "alone."
Even though he was with Lisa and Ben.
And we're like thinking about family. Like Dean has been with this family, sort of like he's been with Lisa and Ben. They've been this like unit, this family, but he still feels alone because he wasn't with his family.
The family that he spent the first 30-some years of his life with.
But it's interesting because Sam and obviously Bobby think the opposite of like, they think that they're leaving him with a family. They were like, we're not going to pull him back into this life because we are leaving him with this new family that they thought that he wanted.
I really hate how they rob him of his agency in this and just being like, we're going to decide what's best for you, even though it's very clearly what you didn't want.
Not only what's best for you, but that we're gonna phrase it like we just gave you what you always wanted. Like Sam specifically says, like, you wanted a family for a long time, maybe the whole time. He's like, if I'd shown up, you would have run off. It felt like after everything, you deserved some regular life. But like, Sam, honey, sweetie, baby, that's maybe some projection on your part.
A little bit.
Lot of projection.
Trying to make him feel like it's his fault that they cut him out.
But you wanted this. What do you mean?
Like, how dare you be upset at us? We gave you what you wanted. And Bobby does the same thing, which like really pisses me off.
I'm really, really disappointed in Bobby for that. Because like, okay, whatever, Sam, you're going through it.
Sam, something is up with Sam. He's just been to hell, like the cage. So like,
Yeah, he's questionable at this point.
But he wasn't down there that long comparatively, right? Dean was down there for months, and it was years. Sam was down there for at most a week. The whole events happen, and then it's a year later.
Yeah, it's not new for Sam.
and Sam has been out for a year.
I don't know why that had never occurred to me before.
Right? Like he wasn't there. He basically popped down and popped back up.
Popped in, took a selfie, and ran off. Like,
Obviously has hell trauma. Like, I don't want to discount that
Yes.
because he, like, when Dean's like, look, do you want to talk about this? I might actually relate. Sam's like, nah, hard pass on the talking about trauma thing. Let's not.
But that's just him channeling Dean, you know? He's like, remember how you went to hell and didn't want to talk about it? My turn.
classic brother behavior.
I do want to say that I think Dean is the only Winchester who has normal emotions in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Dean's reactions are all very, like, he freaks out and he has some really strong reactions and he feels really betrayed and he's really frustrated and he's really pissy at everyone because he's like, you've all been lying to me and now you're gaslighting me into being like, it's my fault. And you're also simultaneously being like, we need you in the hunt, and also simultaneously being like, you should go back to your normal life that we left you with. You're rusty as a hunter, but also being like, we need you, but also like,
It's
no.
awful.
And also like, let's mock you for your normal life, but also we forced you into it.
Yeah, and also we're pulling you out of it now.
Yeah, it's really everything
Yeah.
feels bass backwards. Like,
Yeah. I will say all of his outfits are very gay and cute.
I saw that you had that note, and I specifically wanted to highlight the black tucked in shirt with the belt. I was like, Dean Winchester, you have never, and yet you now, and I accept.
There was that one shot where he's wearing the jeans and they are so tight and he stands up and oh my God,
Listen, this is a family podcast. No.
sir. Wow.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a look. Also I want to just comment on the brown jacket, which is just a really
Yeah.
nice jacket. He looks like
He does look really good this whole episode.
You know what gets me? It's the sock. Like Dean walking around the house in socks.
and the fucking sweatpants.
Oh yeah.
Yes. With the sweatpants and this. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay, but in previous seasons, we have only pretty much almost exclusively since like season 2 seen Dean sleep in jeans, and we've never seen him like lounge in other clothes. Like, he was wearing those sweatpants just to hang around. It's not like he put them
Yeah.
on and immediately went to bed. Like, those are like lounging sweatpants.
So sweet.
So you're saying that Dean has athleisure wear? Because I'm here for this,
Mm.
honestly.
I mean, he does. He's working as a construction worker. He's like going out for beers with a buddy.
He goes for jogs.
The buddy.
His little friendship with the beers and his neighbor.
The buddy next door, too. Like, come on.
I do want to point out about the like montage, because I think one thing I noticed, and it kind of connects to the theme of family, is like most of this montage is about either Dean being a good father or Dean being a good community member / good neighbor. Nothing in this montage is about him being a good partner. And I'm not saying he's a bad partner.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of him and Lisa interactions.
And even Lisa says later that.
I think it's because of the things they're intercutting. They don't have necessarily any wholesome, good relationship memories for him to flash back to.
That's a good point.
And I also think they're highlighting what's been the most important about this year has been like his relationship with Ben and like being in a community and being in a quote unquote like normal life. Lisa also points that out later when they're having the conversation on the stairs. Is she says it was the best year of my life. What if she's talked about how she always wanted Ben to have a father, and she says that's why it was the best year of her life, is because like Ben had someone to look up to, which is really interesting because I don't think like Lisa doesn't love Dean, but I think they have a very compet sort of relationship.
They're there because they need each other, not because they love each other in that way.
Which I got really strongly in this watch, and that sort of like difference between like family. Like Lisa can be family without being like someone he's in love with.
That best year of my life line really, really punched me in the gut this rewatch.
Man, Lisa, that's sad. This ultra traumatized guy came into your life, and it was the best year of your life.
I do think it's important to note that in that conversation, she's kind of confused for a second listening to him, and then she's, oh, you're saying goodbye. Gotcha. And I think it's just important to note that sometimes Dean's goodbyes are a little hard to read.
That is an extremely good point.
And Lisa has literally seen him do this before.
That's why she gets it. That's
Mhm.
why she's like, oh, wait a sec.
It's also very important with the theme of family. We all know that Sam made Dean promise that he wouldn't try to do anything to get Sam back from hell. And of course he didn't leave it alone. Sue Me is so good because of course he's not gonna leave it alone. Of course not.
And I think that's what makes him so mad is like, he's like, I looked for you immediately and you just like let me wander for a year.
Now I wonder if some of the things that Dean tried would have worked if Sam was there.
Or I wonder if it, like, Sam was actively trying to throw him off. Like, how close did they come to each other?
I want a little Zelda map of these people and their little journeys.
Yeah, I like that we get to see Dean like be angry about that. I like that we get to see him express that he's mad. Because Sam is so weirdly chill about this. Sam is so detached. Sam is so emotionally detached in this episode. It's a little scary. The only other times we've seen Sam emotionally detached are when he's so like end of Mystery Spot, when he's so far gone that he's emotionally detached that he's about to kill Bobby. Like
But even then, there was an undertone of shakiness and instability to that, like, coldness, but that isn't present here. Like, I think the word Noah used was really good. Like, he's very smooth.
Too smooth for Sam, no.
He's too polished to be a Winchester.
And he does seem to care so little about Dean's feelings. Like, Sam can be obtuse about Dean's feelings, but like usually that's when Dean's feelings are like hard to figure out, and Sam just like misses them. Whereas here, Dean is telling him exactly how he feels, and Dean and Sam is like, okay.
Yeah, there's no like care.
He's no remorse. Like, no remorse for the decisions that he's made.
And like no understanding and no like seemingly like doesn't seem to have any desire to understand what Dean is going through.
Yeah, the only thing that like tipped me off, or the first thing that tipped me off when I watched it, like, 84 years ago, was when they hugged and Sam just like, because they always, every time they hug, there's like this really tender moment. We get a shot of each of their faces and they're all like scrunched up, like, oh, my brother, and it's like really dramatic. And you get that from Dean, and then it cuts to him and he's just like,
head empty, no thoughts.
not a single brain cell in there. Just I was like, this is not, that's weird. It's like when you realize that someone hasn't blinked for 10 minutes, you're just like, oh, it just makes you feel weird.
Also, the irony of Sam telling Dean that he didn't call because Dean was building something, and then also simultaneously, like 2 seconds later, being like, oh yeah, and this family, like, family doesn't really matter, Dean, except for the family that I have hooked up with in your absence, which maybe will segue us into talking about the Campbells. If we're ready to segue into talking about the Campbells, I want to hear Noah's thoughts on the Campbells.
So get this. I was checking into the lore today, and we've got quite a bit of lore today. The Campbells are reintroduced, we'll say. Samuel is back again, and he's nasty still. And it's really suspicious, honestly.
Ew, Samuel.
Yeah, real suspicious.
Real sus.
He was in heaven? Yeah, likely. A likely story there.
Yeah, like the Campbells as a whole, the Campbells are sus.
Also, yeah, these other cousins.
Yeah, what the fuck? What?
That would imply that Mary had siblings who had kids.
Who were all in the hunting business?
It would be Samuel had brothers who had kids, or sisters who had kids, and those kids are second cousins.
Yeah, they're Mary's cousins. They're not Mary's siblings.
Mary's cousins. Oh yeah, because Sam said like second or third cousin.
But still a big lore piece that should have been mentioned before.
Yeah, we've never gotten mention of any of these people before.
But we did know that Mary's side of the family were hunters.
We knew Mary had an uncle. We did get a mention of that once earlier in these seasons.
But we also had it explicitly stated in, I think it was, I can't remember if it was season 1 or 2, but whenever Sam is looking into her, season 2, he says everyone mom ever knew is dead.
Ooh, that's also true.
Like Azazel specifically took out, or like it's implied that demons took out everyone Mary knew.
It is implied that it's Azazel behind it, which is wild that he's reintroduced in this episode.
How was your reaction to that?
Nasty. This motherfucker again? God.
But he's a
Yeah,
hallucination.
he's not actually real in any of the scenes.
But it's just so great to see him back, though.
Why does Dean hallucinate Azazel and not Alistair is my big question from it.
I was also wondering that.
If we're thinking about tormentors that specifically of Dean, the only reason I can think of that it'd be Azazel is because Azazel is more connected to Sam, who he's just lost.
It does make more sense with the hallucination he has with Ben and Lisa that it's Azazel.
I was gonna say that as well, yeah.
Yeah, because Azazel has been preying on his family specifically, whereas Alistair fucked with
yeah.
Dean.
Yeah, and Dean's not working through. I mean, he's always gonna be working through that hell trauma, but currently he's working through the like losing Sam trauma.
Yeah.
He should be working through that hell trauma. Is he actually? Another story.
But yeah, Campbell's real sus, and where's the backstory?
Also important, monsters are going haywire with their, quote unquote rules. Werewolves on the half moon. There's creatures that they've never seen before out and about right now, which is interesting. I like that because now every other monster, there's been some sort of, blueprint in the past in the history books that they can, check into the lore. And
Got 5 seasons to go off of now.
now they've got completely new creatures like that.
And they've got people being resurrected without understanding where. So like presumably when Sam was resurrected, he presumably looked at did the angels do it? Because when Dean was resurrected, it was the
Right.
angels. So presumably Sam's like looked at this, and Sam is like, I have found no lead on who brought me back. And they also have no leads on who brought Samuel back. Because Samuel was also dead. Samuel is like a long time dead.
Long time dead because he died in the past.
He died in like 1970 after being a dick in this one episode he was in.
Yeah, so nobody was
Yeah.
really missing him.
Why is he back? Also, I would like to point out that we had a few really terrible microaggressions, slash let's feminize Dean slash queer code and
Yeah.
insult him. First thing, his cousin says,
You have delicate features for a hunter.
What does it even fucking mean?
Oh, why was that necessary? What sort of features do hunters require? What?
Especially because I'm looking at her and I'm like, and how would you describe your features?
this is just another version of the like, oh, you're of people like mocking Dean because he's like quote unquote pretty.
Yeah.
And like it's the like feminizing slash like homophobic undertones.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting.
Immediate dislike of the Campbell
Yes.
cousins.
Absolutely. And then they come into his house,
Yeah, when she holds up the magazine, is like, yours or your wives? And like,
ripping apart every choice that he's ever made in his house.
Oh, and then Sam gets in on it too, where like pulls out the golf clubs, and I'm like, Sam, you literally pushed him into this life.
Yeah. Also, Sam, this is the life you want. Stop mocking it. Dem definitely did golfing in college. He like was so posh.
he was in law school at Stanford. He golfed.
Oh, no. Wait, no. Sam was
Yeah.
absolutely Sam was super hard into ultimate frisbee, and
Oh
it.
my god. He'd be so good at it.
It's true because he was still poor in college.
Oh no, now I'm picturing that and it's really fun.
Someone needs to do an art fic of that. Sam.
Someone draw Sam playing ultimate frisbee in college. We will love you forever.
With his season 1 hair.
Listeners, you have it, if your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Oh, another point that I needed to make about Samuel. Sorry, I'm circling back around. Dean's theme plays when Samuel comes into the room,
I
which
didn't
is
pick up on that.
fucking
I
weird.
did not catch that either.
Yeah, that is Dean's theme, which only shows up when
Why
it's a
would it show
significant
up
moment
then?
for Dean and like characterization and like something big is shown. Yeah, so they play that over him walking into the room and over the flashback of him dying in 1970.
Interesting. I mean, it was kind of a big flashback for him going back and, being his queer self in front of his grandparents. Like that's kind of formative, but like okay.
And meeting Mary, like it's Samuel also says to Dean, "Stick around, I'll show you tricks your daddy never even dreamed of."
Yeah.
Ew, I hated that.
Normally I'm into like anti-John sort of slander, but like in this case,
It's just creepy.
Yeah, it sounded gross.
The way it was delivered was creepy. I hated it.
also when he tries to like bond with Dean later when they're back at Dean and Lisa's house, and he tries to like bond with Dean and be like, "I understand."
But also, I'm not gonna mention my wife's name a single time in this episode. Like what?
Yeah, justice for fucking Deanna Campbell.
Where the fuck is Deanna? She's been ignored this entire time ever since. Oh my god, it's been so long since we've heard of her. Not even from her, but of her.
Yeah, we should have got her back. That would have been better.
I did have one Samuel point I wanted to make. Just the mentioning of how much Dean is like Mary. And my note was just not Samuel saying that Dean is Mary coded.
Yeah, basically. I don't remember the exact word he uses.
I think he said stubborn or something.
Yeah, like I get like the stubbornness that Dean has about things is very Mary, and it was nice to see that. Dean also kind of like half calls himself a soccer mom, or he like says, go on, say it, like call me a soccer mom or whatever.
So good.
You think you're a soccer mom, Dean? That's adorable.
He likes it.
Because the thing is, I think he knows that they would be saying it as an insult, but like, does Dean really?
That's the title that he brings out.
Actually, I'm a baseball dad, but thank you. Like,
if Dean, the thing with Lisa and Ben is it's not that Sam or Bobby is wrong that Dean like wants those things like a partner and home and family,
Stability,
kids, but it's just that Dean doesn't want to lose the people that are his family.
Yeah,
like his current family. He doesn't just pick anyone in that role. He can't have that if it also means like losing Sam and losing Bobby and losing Cass.
He doesn't want to leave everyone to have that.
which, sorry, where the fuck is Cass?
I was waiting for that comment.
It's been so long. Like, where's he at?
Well, and Dean mentions Cass twice, and he's like, Cass? Did Cass know anything?
And Sam says that he prays, but Dean doesn't say that he prayed, and that's annoying. He had to have.
Did Dean try and get Cass's help to get Sam out? Probably, maybe, possibly.
He had to have tried
Cass said he was going back to heaven at the end of season 5
to start an angel revolution.
I have a question. Do you think Cass knows that Sam's been back this whole time? Does Cass know all the things? Is he just like watching all of this? He's watching Dean and Lisa. He's watching Sam and Samuel and the cousins. Like he's just observing everything and choosing not to do anything.
That would kind of explain why he's not there, because he sees Dean and Lisa and he's like, fuck that shit. I'm not going there. Like, you're gonna pretend to... Okay, nah, I'm not gonna sit around and watch that. It was hard enough to stand around while Anna was around. Like,
yeah, where the fuck is Cass is a really good question, especially with all these new monsters.
Yeah, weird shit's happening. Where is he?
they might need some angel backup. Upgraded angel backup nonetheless.
Yeah. Also, okay, another lore piece is that Samuel says, you don't know what you're a part of, Dean. You had ancestors hacking the heads off vamps on the Mayflower.
Oh, the Mayflower bit?
Yes, which is interesting.
We've known that Mary's family has been hunters for a while. We knew it was a couple of generations, but now we're finding out that it's potentially hundreds of years.
Yeah, because I mean that's like almost 400 years.
Like they were hunters over in Europe before.
I mean, it makes sense. There's gonna be, if there's monsters in America, there's monsters in South America, there's monsters in Europe. I get it makes sense. Yeah, it's super interesting to be able to track lineage of hunters. A hunter bloodline that has survived that long is impressive. Makes you think it might have to be supernaturally guided,
protected a little
a
bit.
little bit.
Maybe they needed a certain vessel to be born.
Some of them. Oh wait, is that the point of the first 5 seasons?
No, we're done that though. The apocalypse is over. Apocalypse is averted.
Apocalypse averted.
Which, Alistair being a hallucination does bring about the question of, what could the apocalypse have brought out?
Right. Which is gotta be what Azazel says.
Look what the apocalypse should be.
God brought Cass back. What if God also brought back monsters? Which is a cool idea.
He'd save some monsters for the end of the book.
We see what you did there.
That was good. Appreciated that.
Oh, I do want to say I really liked the little callbacks. Like, this is going back to the beginning of the episode, but like Dean trying to like pretend that everything's okay, where he's clearly having like these trauma flashbacks, and he's also clearly having all of these like things point hunting, and he's trying like I think we see Dean trying really hard to like be aware of his trauma and handle it safely for the sake of Lisa and Ben. He says to Lisa, like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm worked up over nothing. Like, I'm sure that's not the first time this has happened. Like, Lisa's very understanding. It seems like he's trying really hard to not let his trauma spill over to Lisa and Ben.
I think Lisa really has like dealt with a lot more than I think he gives her credit for. Because like I loved when she says that line, you know, like a guy who just stopped the apocalypse shows up on your doorstep. You don't think he has a couple of issues? Like she recognizes that he did not come to her in a stable state of mind.
No, which I mean, I don't know how realistic it is that someone who hooked up with someone once would, yeah, take them in these circumstances.
But what if it was a plot device? I mean,
What if they're a main character? You didn't consider that. I don't.
What if we are trying to distract viewers from shipping him with the angel?
We're trying to be like, oh no, we were too gay for all of season 5.
We're too gay. We must backtrack the game.
We gotta roll it back. We gotta send Cass all the way to heaven.
Get him out of the picture again.
And stick him with Lisa for a year.
Some painful representation right there.
I wanted us to see more of Lisa that wasn't just about her relationship with Dean. Like, I wanted to see her fleshed out. Like, I've been wanting this for Lisa since we first got introduced to her. Like, she's just not fleshed out as a character. Like, she's just a plot device.
We can't have women having opinions on this show.
Like, she literally just gets shoehorned into like the same role as Mary and Jess, literally burning on the ceiling.
Literally, yeah.
Like, oh no, there's a woman in his life.
Gotta burn him.
Though I did like the little symmetry of like the same way that like Sam was Dean's kid, Ben is Dean's kid. Like, that's a pretty strong argument for like Ben is Dean's kid.
It's also, you know, that's Dean's. If Dean's having this hallucination, that's how Dean sees it. Fact, you can see it. Like, he confirms that Azazel is making these connections, and that's Dean making Azazel make these connections. Yeah, I love seeing that. Besides that, not a lot of representation going on in this episode. Didn't love that.
I mean, we have hunters working together, which we haven't seen in a while, which is more lore than representation. But
it's sort of a shortcut because they're all related, and we have seen that. If they weren't related, it'd be more impressive.
They do capture the Jinn at the end of the episode. I don't know if you caught that, Noah. That They do take the Jinn.
Yeah, but Samuel also makes that comment
Sus
where
as
he's like,
hell.
"Get her
What are
in
they
the car
using the
before
Jinn
the boys
for?
get back," and then it like zooms in on his face being really sketchy and weird.
Like he could totally in that moment have like a curly mustache and it go dun dun dun.
Mustaches do not imply evil.
Curly ones do. The ones that go like
When they're like twisting it, like
Only if they're twisting it and saying more. A twisty mustache is not evil. Most of the time it's sexy. Sometimes it's sexy and evil.
The Venn diagram of mustaches, sexy mustaches, and evil mustaches. There is a Venn diagram.
And twirly ones are right on the cusp.
They can be in both.
But yes, he was very much doing a comic book villain style, looking off into the. It was a little suspicious.
In case we weren't suspicious of, like, it is a little lazy. Like, in case we were already suspicious of Samuel.
It's heavy-handed.
Yeah, but that's the CW.
but they're doing that on purpose because they want us to be suspicious of Samuel. They're making it very obvious that he's being sketchy and weird.
So now it's like, okay, is he actually a good guy secretly? I don't know.
Meanwhile, Samuel himself is trying to be like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
He thinks he's being so smooth.
I mean, with Sam, he clearly is, because Sam is fully in. Sam,
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
who notoriously doesn't like to work with other people, is working with these other hunters. End of the episode.
Didn't love it. I hated it, honestly.
Dean like really tries to test like Sam's loyalty, I think, because he goes like, Sam says, you know, I wish you were coming with me, and Dean goes like, why do you want me to be with you, coming with you? Like, I'm rusty, I'm out of shape, like blah 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 blah. And Sam is like, you know, you care, like that's who you are, Dean, and like I wouldn't even think to try. And I think that throws Dean because he remembers a Sam that didn't care and does try.
They usually tried more than he did. from his perspective anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dean was all on board with using the knife to get the demons out, but Sam was the one who wanted to explore the route of saving the victim as well.
Dean tries to give Sam the Impala.
That hurt. He tries to give it away. Oof.
Oh yeah, that scene gutted me.
Which again, if you talk about the symbolism of like Sam having agency and being in the driver's seat when he drives the Impala, but Sam turns it down.
Okay, but also he turns down a car that is 40 years old for a Dodge Challenger that's like within the last 5. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. This car's not going to break down near as often. Sorry, baby, I love you, but
Well, but to me, that was another red flag, because we just got done at the end of the last episode establishing that this car is home to him. And so for him to be like, no, I'm good. I like my Dodge Charger. Who the fuck are you?
And I agree with that as it being a red flag. And also we've seen how Sam has attached this car. And anytime Dean has been like, hey, here, take the keys, or like you drive, or like whatever, Sam, it takes that as a very
It's a big deal.
yeah, it's a big deal. Not like a, oh no, I like my car.
I've already got my car set up, so
Yeah.
Sam just doesn't care. It's not that he's rejecting the Impala, it's that he just isn't interested.
The indifference is concerning.
it's definitely not Sam.
Yeah, also, I thought this was just really funny. But Dean's like, you keep in touch here. And Sam's like, of course. And I'm like, when you've been strange, when have you ever kept in touch in your entire goddamn life when you're apart?
Don't say of course like that, sir.
Of
Don't
course.
even.
What?
Can you tell me my phone number right now? No, you can't. We're standing at my house. Can you tell me my address? No. Chill.
They've not ever had a conversation longer than 5 minutes on the phone.
If they did, it was a butt dial. Okay, but sorry. On the note of Dean being rusty and not, I loved the scene where they said, hey, you're rusty. Leave it to the professionals over here. And then he's like, okay, motherfuckers, but this is how we do this shit. So it's like I'm a professional or something. That was so good.
Then I see him flex that just because I've been out of the game does not mean I've forgotten everything that I ever knew.
That was
Yeah.
so good.
Does not mean I don't know what I'm talking about.
Does not mean I didn't just stop the fucking apocalypse last year.
Yeah, doesn't mean I'm not Dean fucking Winchester.
Exactly.
I can clock in whenever I want.
He's like, I am better than all of you with my eyes closed.
I just want to talk about how delusional everybody is about the fact that they just were like, yeah, Dean can be out of the life and nothing will come for him ever.
Yep.
Dean himself, Sam, Bobby. I'm like, okay, Dean and Sam, they've been through a lot. They're, they can have their blinders on, whatever. But Bobby, really? You really thought that
Come on.
thought this was gonna work?
This was a long-term solution? Really?
Every monster knows about the Winchesters. Heaven and hell knows about them. They were the center of the apocalypse.
Exactly.
Every occultist, every
you really thought that no one would come for Dean ever?
Or that he would just be able to handle it on his own. Also thought that it was a good idea to send him to civilians and be like, there will be no consequences for this.
these civilians will be fine.
And Dean acknowledges that later on, that he was I think he felt like he had no other options.
Mm-hmm.
And he recognizes that he brought that to them.
Yeah. But particularly Bobby, it just makes me be like, come on, Bobby, you're better than that.
Bobby not checking in on Dean for a
Makes
whole
me
year.
think that Bobby did. He knew where he was.
Yeah,
he kept
was
up
checking
on him.
in
Had
on
to
him
have.
from afar,
Ugh, I hate that. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's also bad.
He should be checking up on him from up close.
Yeah,
please.
be involved in his life if
Show some emotional support, Bobby.
Exactly. If Sam is gone, if Dean thinks that Sam is gone, yeah, okay, now he has his family and Lisa and Ben, but you can still be in his life. Whatever, you can lie to him while you're in his life, but don't just be like, okay, now you're in this separate little bubble.
Yeah, that's the thing, is once he knew that Sam was alive, he knew that he couldn't interact with Dean and talk about Sam without lying to him about it, and he didn't want to lie, so he kept him safe from afar. So but he was trying his best to keep both brothers safe, because he knew something's up with Sam maybe, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on Sam, and he's keeping connection with me to make sure that I don't tell Dean. So maybe this will help keep everybody safe. But to do that, he has to stay away from Dean, and so it's not worth it.
Feels like there are both the Sam and Dean relationship and the Dean and Bobby relationship have taken a big hit.
The times they are changing this season.
Well, and Dean's staying out. Which,
Yeah.
okay, there's also a very funny joke that I was going to make. At the part where I scroll through my notes for the joke. Do I look out to you?
Yes.
They look around for Cass.
Do I look out to you? No, Dean, you look like...
Is it a straight face, though?
You look like the most emotionally repressed, closeted, possible person at this point. You do not look out to any of us.
No, sir. This is also not the crowd.
No notes. Just, yes.
Anyway,
Hard agree.
It was good. It was great.
Especially since it's right after that line from Dean comes right after Bobby is like, it's as close, like what you've been living, Dean. It's as close as happiness as I've seen a hunter get. You were out, Dean. And Dean's like, first off, no, I wasn't. Second off, you think I was happy?
Yeah.
I was getting closer to being out whenever I was here in the life with Cass.
Yeah.
You remember when I said blow me?
I was telling him to blow me in front of the both of you. Like,
You think I'm more out now? Not the kind of out I wanted.
You set me up with a woman. What?
means like you guys misunderstood the assignment.
When I said I wanted to be out, I didn't mean of the hunting life.
I meant I wanted to marry my angel boyfriend.
I meant I wanted to be out of the closet. I have no other notes. I think I've talked about all of them.
I've got all of them. I'm good.
I think I'm out of notes too.
What do you think is coming next, Noah? I want to hear like
Well, there's no way Dean is staying out of the life. There's no chance. The show would not be 15 seasons. So
No, that's a spoiler. It's actually 14 more seasons of domestic Dean making pancakes.
no, it's just the Sam hunting show. That's it.
I'm more into the Dean domestic show. It's better. Sorry, Sam.
There's a whole episode of Dean just at Home Depot.
Oh my god.
I don't want
Just
it if it's
talking to
not
people.
gay though.
Oh no, there's absolutely a guy there that he talks to about lumber or something. And
Yes.
And he's got a sleeveless shirt on or something.
even though he doesn't have a need for lumber and the two of them just chat, I've already
talk
written
about
the
wood?
entire fan fiction. It's fine.
Oh my god, they talk about wood.
Yeah. hmm
The person who said the joke and the person who said the joke louder.
I said what I said.
Well, I think that's where we're gonna end. Honestly,
We're gonna end on talking about wood. Yeah. Let's do it.
As good a place as any.
That is the end of our discussion of the episode. That is going to move us right into our final section of today's episode, which is our character blessing / character to watch. Would anybody like to start? Who you got your eye on this week?
I would like to bless Lisa. I know she's not the most popular person this episode. But I really feel for her when she has that comment of like, it was the best year of my life. Because even though, yeah, she was dealing with a guy who was like very traumatized, like she got the full family that she wanted. And I think that meant a lot to her. And I think she kind of sees it slipping away right before her eyes. And that's a really stressful, sad thing to go through. So yeah, a blessing for Lisa.
That's really good because like Dean, as much as Dean is like the compulsory heterosexuality is like harming Dean, it's also harming Lisa. She also deserves a partner who actually wants to be there.
Listen, I'm here for an arc of asexual Lisa who just wants to raise her son. Like, I'm here for it.
I'm gonna go ahead and bless Dean because he needs it so badly because he feels abandoned by his family in this episode and by his boyfriend too. So it's just a lot of new reveals that are coming all at once, and he shouldn't have to deal with all of that. I wish him the best in moving forward through that.
Yeah.
I want to keep my eye on Bobby. I want to know what's happening for him. Yeah. What was his reaction when he like saw Sam for the first time? How he actually feels about like leaving Dean to Lisa and now like having him come back and then having him go back to Lisa. Like I want to know how he's feeling about his own involvement in the boys' lives at this moment. Because
Yeah,
there's got to be
absolutely.
some emotional
I
turmoil there, but we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. I want to bless
Mm.
Ben because
Yeah.
this kid knows the supernatural exists. This kid has lived this whole past year with Dean, with having a father figure. We used to have that incredibly cute scene of them working on the car together, like it, which again we didn't talk about, but is like one of my favorite little snippets in this episode. Like we get the idea that their relationship is like really rich and really, really positive. And then in this one episode, everything kind of goes to shit. And that's really scary. And Ben's like 11, and just like feel for the kid. And I want to know more about how he's doing, and I want to make sure that that kid's okay. And so, yeah, thinking about Ben. And that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Yeah.
Season 6.
Here we go.
Kicking it off.
There's actually a moment in the blooper reel where they just go, season 6.
Here we are. If you haven't yet, we do have an audience survey that is out right now. We would love your feedback on what you like about our show, what you would like to see more of, and just some of your general thoughts about Supernatural. If you are interested in filling that out, it should only take a couple of minutes, and it is linked in the website and in the episode description.
Make sure you are subscribed to Saving People Queering Things wherever you listen to podcasts, and share our show with your friends. You can also join our free Discord server, find links to all of our socials, and catch up on the latest season mixtapes, all at our website, queeringthingspodcast.com.
Also out now, Queering People Saving Throws. Our main crew, along with KJ of Supernatural Opinions, are taking a dive into a queer D&D adventure, releasing every other Friday right here on our feed.
Be sure to ride along with us next week as we explore Season 6, Episode 2, 2.5 Men through the theme of aging.
Thank you all for coming along for the ride, and we wish you a peaceful road until we meet again.